In this drive, we're going to see if Autopilot's full self-drive, Tesla's full self-driving system can take me from this elementary school here in Issaquah all the way to my house in Maple Valley. Here we go. So what we're going to start off with here is navigating through this neat old, I don't know if it's old, but this pretty cool little town here. There's going to be some roundabouts coming up here. There's going to be some stop signs. The car is going to have to navigate through all of this and take its turn here. So that car is going to double go. They did not wait for me. That wasn't very nice, but the car handled that just fine. It, let them go. It saw that they were going to go, so it didn't try to beat them to it. So here's this roundabout here, and in the last couple updates, I feel like Tesla's had a bit of struggle with these roundabouts, and it is a yield, so it's going to handle that okay. That was good. Okay, I like that. Let's see if it takes this okay. And there's a guy in the crosswalk coming here, or on the sidewalk. It didn't stop for him, so that's good because he didn't actually cross the road. That was good. I thought I handled that really well. So in 0.2 of a mile, we're going to be taking a left up here, so just got a little bit of navigating through these side streets, and these are pretty wide here. We've got a crosswalk coming up. Let's see if there's anything there. Oh yeah, it's handling this really well. Okay, we're going really wide to the right there, coming up behind that parked car. Not sure why it swerved there, but I think it was more just the usual where it's centering itself. It keeps doing that. It keeps wanting to pull to the right, but now it needs to get in this left turn lane. Let's see if it's going to do that. It is. That's great. So far, this is going good. So the idea here is that we're going to try to get as little engagement as possible. This is on the latest, well, not actually the latest. I've heard there's another software build that's come out after this. I am currently on the, let's take a look here, the 10.69.51 or 25.1. It's telling me to pay attention to the road. You see, this is exactly what we want to see. Tesla this month is supposed to do away with having to tap the screen, right? The steering wheel to apply any kind of torque to the steering wheel, to be gripping it. It's supposed to be doing away with that this month. And so it's good that is something as simple as reaching over to the center screen for longer than like 5-10 seconds. I'm getting pinged on that. And so if I didn't respond to that, then eventually we'd just shut off the autopilot, and for the rest of this drive, I would not be able to do that. If I picked up my phone right now, same kind of thing, it would tell me to pay attention to the road. And these are all good signs, because if the car is on full self-drive, you need to be completely paying attention. You guys probably saw Dirty Tesla. He did a pretty good video on that car in the tunnel this week, that model, I think it was a Model S, that came to a stop in the middle of the tunnel. And, they were trying to make it sound like it was Autopilot's fault for doing this. And, I think everyone who owns a Tesla would say there's no possible way that was Autopilot's fault, because you're in control, and we are all aware when we sign the documents or accept the disclosures that we are the ones in control of the car, and we have to always have our hands on the wheel and be in control. And if our car starts to slow down in any way, shape, or form, then you can just press on the accelerator and you can make the car go. So if the car is stopping, it's only because the driver allowed it to stop. I think this guy just blew a tire on the far left side of the road here. Oh man, that's a exciting thing to have happen. Yep, a lot of blue smoke. So anyway, if you're watching this and you haven't been on autopilot or even full self-drive like you're watching right now, understand that I am, at any point in time, I can take control of the car. I can grab the steering wheel and steer. I can press on the accelerator, press on the brake. All those things will give me control back instantly of the car. The car will not do a single thing I'm not okay with. So anything that happens on this drive is my responsibility. And all Tesla drivers know that. So right now, the car is going to change lanes to go faster around this car. That's a setting that I have enabled. And so as long as my hands are on the wheel, it'll do that. But see, it won't even do that unless my hands are on the wheel right now. So that's another thing, people don't understand that you are so much in control of this car when it's on full self-drive like this. It won't even change a lane unless my hand is on the wheel. So now it's going to do it again. My hands are on the wheel. So it says change your lanes in a faster lane. So it's going to accelerate out here to pass this slow-moving semi-truck here. And we have just under 2 miles to go here. I'm going to let it go up to 5 miles an hour over the speed limit here to 75. I have mine set by default to go up 5% over the speed limit, but you can adjust that at any time to go anything you want. You can adjust it, up 5, 10. So it's going to now get back over here. Again, it's wants me to apply force. There's a good example right there. I didn't have, my hands were around the wheel, but I wasn't applying any kind of force to it. So it wasn't going to change lanes. So again, driver had to be paying attention. Driver had to have his hands on the wheel. And then it actually went and made the lane change. And so what will happen is, and the reason why a Tesla will come to a stop like that, like we saw in that video, the only way it does that is if the driver could have fallen asleep or in some way wasn't paying attention. So what the Tesla will do, which is actually a very good thing, the driver will, or the Tesla will, it'll give you multiple warnings on the screen, and after about a minute, if you haven't acknowledged the wheel, put pressure on the wheel, torque on the wheel, let them know that you're paying attention, the car will then come to a complete stop, thinking that you've maybe had a heart attack or you fall asleep or something's going on where the driver is not coherent, so it's going to safely come to a stop. And I don't know, obviously, all the details of what happened in that experience there, but it didn't look to me in the video like the car just slammed on its brake. It looks like it just came to a nice slow stop like that, and and then of course you know what happened there, which is really unfortunate. But to say that the car itself just slammed on the brakes, I mean, it certainly didn't look like there was some crazy brake slammage going on in the video there. We do experience something called phantom braking, which you've probably heard about. But the most I've ever had phantom braking, and I put on hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of miles, well, definitely thousands of miles. Well, let's see how it's going to handle this truck situation. Ooh, nice. So far I haven't engaged in any way, shape, or form with the car. So, anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. Something about the only way that the car could have done what it did. Yeah, with phantom braking. I've never seen it go down more than 5 miles per hour. 5 miles per hour is the maximum that the car can slow. So for example, right here, the car is not going fast enough for me. I don't like the speed it's going, so I'm going to press on the accelerator like this, and I can make it accelerate. It still stays in full self-drive and everything, but that was a merge right there, and I wasn't comfortable with how the speed it was going. Now, if I wasn't recording and talking about this specific topic, I would not have accelerated there. There was nothing wrong at all with what the car was doing. It was perfectly fine. Now we just finally switched the speed limit. The problem is right there, everybody knows the speed is 55 here. It's just for about 200 feet, it stays at 45. And so everyone else takes off, and everyone's trying to merge right there, but the car wasn't going to because that wasn't technically the speed limit yet. So anyway, that's why I helped it out there a little bit. But you can see that since I've gotten in the car inside the parking lot at the school, the car has done 100% of the driving. I've done nothing at all that was needed to be done. We've gone a very good distance so far. We have 10 miles left on this journey, or 22 minutes. And the car's been just absolutely killing it. So I think there's a lot. I mean, the industry out there, the news media absolutely loves to just focus in on Autopilot and Tesla, and some of it's justified, some of it's just a matter of not understanding. And so when I make these videos, I really try to make it clear, and that's why I make a lot of these videos, is I want to make it clear like where exactly this is all at. I mean, this is in no way ready for full self-driving. It's in no way ready to be thought of as a full self-driving car. Yes, this drive is full self-driving. It is taking over, but I would in no way trust my life with this car. I would never get in the back seat in its current state and just let it drive me. I don't exactly have like a lot of close calls or anything, but there's lots of times when it tells me to take over because it's not comfortable with what it's doing. And so you have to be here. I mean, this is like level 2, right? Some people argue 3, but it has a long ways to go, and everyone knows that. I think that, to be honest, I think Tesla's kind of asked for it. They've kind of got themselves in this position by naming it full self-drive. Yes, they do tack beta onto the back of that, but you know, I think they could have probably named it a lot of other things, and it probably wouldn't have made any difference, to be honest. But you are kind of waving it out there to say full self-drive when it's not doing that right now. But I mean, it's just interesting, because I say those things because I know that is the reality. But you do have multiple drives like this where you do just have, you know, 20, 30 miles, sometimes more than that, of just no interactions. The car is just doing its complete thing on its own, and you're just along for the ride. And it's hard to take a drive like that, or like this, and then not in some way feel like this is going to be possible someday, you know? For some people that maybe haven't experienced it, it seems like there's just no way it's going to happen. But for me, and those of us who do this beta stuff, man, like, some drives, you just think, wow, in my lifetime, I'm going to see this. I'm going to sit in the back seat, and my car is going to drive me there. You know, you get a small measure of belief when you've sat in here. And I've done it. I've taken people in my car, and I thought about creating a series of taking non-believers in my car and just getting their reaction to see what they think. And they don't believe it's going to be full self-driving the next couple of years, but they certainly are blown away at how much better it is than they expected. And it's true. So anyway, we've got about another 10 miles here on the freeway, and we're just going to let this thing roll. I'm going to show this whole video to you guys. I'm going to edit it at some points as needed, you know, just speeding up, slowing down the video so it doesn't get super long. This right here, though, I'll just stay with you for a minute. This is a merge site. We're at the top of a pass right now, and this is going to turn into one lane as it starts going down. What the car will do sometimes here, like it looks like it wants to do right now, is it will accelerate because it doesn't know the lane is turning into just one lane. It'll accelerate and get beside the semi, and in the last second, it's going to have to hit the brakes real hard when it realizes what's happening. Like, watch this. Let's see what it's going to do. Okay, so, it still doesn't quite know. See, now what it looks like? What it looks like is that we are just hardcore brake checking this semi and saying, I don't want to let you in right now, so I'm gonna let you in, but I'm gonna be a dick about it, is what it's kind of saying. Okay, so what just happened was full self-drive just kicked off because of poor weather. And that's because it got so close to that semi that all the blow off from that semi was being shoved back into the cameras. And these cameras are, oh my gosh, see, just went through some massive potholes right there, the kind that could just about pop a tire. You know, if you were driving this car, you would have for sure swerved around those potholes, still hitting them on the right side there. You know, that's a thing too, is right now Tesla does not swerve around potholes. I don't know that it really should, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe to some extent, like a slight swerve or whatever, but you know, that was a pretty brutal one that we just drove straight through. But yeah, I mean, right now we're just kind of like going down this single road, and we're I don't know, I'm pretty happy with how this whole thing's going. But let's knock it in fast forward here and see how the rest of this goes. I will just point out that we've used 3 different types of driving since we've been on the road. If you've been watching the screen, you've seen it shift to multiple different types of views. So right now you're looking at the full self-drive view, which has all the detail. But just a second ago, we are in Navigate and Autopilot, which is where if you pay for the full self-drive but you're not on the beta program, you know, you would get. And then for a while there, we were on just auto steer when it was bad weather, which is what every single car has, that every Tesla has. So we've gone through all 3 of those different systems, and I think you guys probably know the difference about all those. But you know, if you guys want, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll make a video really outlining the differences between all 3 of those. I did that about a year and a half ago, but a lot's changed since then. So if you want that, definitely feel free to let me know. But anyway, it's just kind of interesting going over that one pass, seeing it go through all 3 different types of driving styles. All right, so we're just now coming up here to our exit, and so we still, to this point, have not had a single interaction. The car is doing 100% of all of this driving. I'm just along for the ride. There we go, back into the full self-driving mode here, and we're just we got a couple more turns, and then we'll be on the home stretch here. This has been an absolutely outstanding drive, the best one I've ever had. Well, never had. Best one I've had on this update. I'd say the last 5 updates, this has been the most successful drive. Granted, you know, a lot of it was on the highway and freeway. We went on a freeway and a highway and main arterial, so we got to cover all 3 this time. And so here we go, back into town on the full self-driving program. And if you haven't figured it out yet, or if maybe I'll put it up on the screen, I'll show you where it is, or maybe I've already done it at this point in the video. That was actually an incredibly good, well-controlled turn right there, and then over into the far lane. See, I love that. It turned, and then it got in the lane, and then it went to the proper lane after that. And it's going to have a pretty challenging situation up here to figure out with a double merge lane onto the main arterial here. But if you haven't figured out yet, if the blue steering wheel in the top left corner there is, you know, there, if it's blue, then that means that the car is in full self-drive and I've not interacted. If that ever goes gray, then that means I've interacted in some way. So as long as you've seen that as blue and the road lines you're seeing on here are blue, then you know that it has not been disengaged. And you can see the car knows it's going to be turning right up here. And look at the cars that are going across the screen down there, that they were turning blue, and that's the path projection that you can see the car is turning blue there, that Tesla is using to determine when it's safe to go. So we got 2 different lanes here turning right. So we should be pulling up, like if I was driving, I'd pull up way further forward and before I went. And but if the car is stopping at the stop line, that's technically what it's supposed to do, but you just can't see from here. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to press accelerate. I'm actually pushing on the accelerator right now to tell the car to go a little far forward so we can see better. And I'm going to see if this, by helping it out, it helps. So it's still, is it going to go? Okay, so it finally went that time. But that's where like the human and the AI, the Autopilot, the full self-drive system clash a little bit, is in those situations. It's like the car was legally doing something not wrong. It wasn't doing anything dangerous. It wasn't doing anything wrong. But if you were driving the car, you wouldn't have just stayed there. You would have creeped forward so you could see, and then you would have gone on the open space. But the car couldn't see because there was a line of cars there, as well as it wouldn't go far enough beyond the stopping line to find out if there was any cars there. So that's one of the problems with turns like that it has to figure out. The other one is that this lane right here that we are in is a turn only lane up here after this light to the right. So you got a bus stopping up here. Okay, my video went out there, so we're re-logging that back in here. So got a bus stop, had pulled over right here, but this lane also, again, it only turns to the right. So the car needs to figure this out, and it needs to turn to the left up here. Like we should be getting out of this lane right now, but instead we are inside this turn only lane. There it goes. It finally did it at the last second. It's a little uncertain about it. I did see the car creeping up behind us pretty quick, and then it finally went. So anyway, we're pretty much getting back to my house. Nothing more exciting going to be happening up here. So for the most part, a successful drive. Yes, it would have made it around that corner eventually that we were just at, probably when the light turned green. But the people behind me, of course, are getting antsy. I don't want to be rude. I'm not trying to give Tesla a bad name out there, or the drivers of Tesla, so I just sort of helped it out. But just to go again to show you that I am in control as the driver, and if I don't like what the car is doing, then I can certainly change it at any time I want, whether stopping, slowing, or whatever it is. I am 100% responsible for what this car does, and we all know it. So thanks for watching this drive. Comment below if you've had a good time. Comment if you're loving your Tesla and what your experiences have been. Of course, if you're new to the channel, please take a second and subscribe if you haven't already. Follow for more videos, reviews, and news on Saturday mornings. And again, if you haven't watched the latest video on the foldable table, I'm doing a giveaway for one of those to someone who comments down below. Right now, there's hardly any comments on that video, so it's pretty high chances you're going to get drawn. So go down there, go watch that video, follow me on Twitter, and enter to win for this awesome folding table. See you guys on the next video.